What is up, everyone? Welcome to day 2 of Games Done Quick's Juneteenth celebration of Black excellence in speedrunning. I am your boy bigbeaz, your helpful harbinger of hype. And today we have a fantastic show for you. We have just so much talent just spread out throughout the day. I can't wait for y'all to enjoy these wonderful, amazing beings here. Couple things real quick. Today, like I said, is day 2 of our Juneteenth celebration. Juneteenth, for those of you that don't know, is a federal holiday celebrating the freedom of Black people in the U.S. Our annual event is celebrating Black speedrunners, showcasing the games they love. If you're interested in our schedule, you can check it out on the side or hit !schedule. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to press the like button and subscribe on this video and check out the channel. We've got lots of other videos, so much good content. Also go to twitch.tv/gamesdonequick if you're interested in catching some of our live content. We also have, in case you missed out on GDQ 2023, be sure to check out the VODs on YouTube at youtube.com/gamesdonequick. And without further ado, we're gonna kick this bad boy off strong with a phenomenal speedrunner who's just, I have to give you a little warning though. If you are hungry or you had like a little sweet tooth that's been gnawing at you, this is your trigger warning, because this game is not only beautiful, it is also delicious on some stages. And it just will, I'm about to run and grab some sweets because it's amazing. So, coming up first, we have Lunistice 100%, ran by none other than the wonderful, amazing Nestani. Tell them about yourself.
All right, what's up, everyone? My name is Nestani, and today we're going to be running Lunistice 100%. And today I have 2 good buddies of mine joining me on commentary. I have Jax and Noxus. You guys want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Noxus94. I mainly speedrun the Hundo category of Lunistice, and I'm currently the 2nd place, behind Nestani.
Hey, what's up? I'm Jaxler. I mostly focus on any percent glitchless and trending for this game. But super excited to be here. Nestani is going to absolutely destroy this, so...
Yeah, and so 100% is basically described as collecting all the cranes in the game and all the letters and acquiring true ending. And we'll go over that more as we get in, but you're in for a real treat. If you saw me run this game at this past SGDQ, this is a different category, and with that, this category has a lot of schmovement. So let's just get into the schmovement. So the timer's gonna start when I gain control of my character, and then Jax will take it from there. So 3, 2,
September
1,
2nd.
Go. That wasn't the greatest countdown.
Yeah, we're good. All right, so right off the bat, you're going to start to notice Nestani collecting these cranes. There are a fixed amount of these in each of the levels of the game that Nestani has to collect in order to fulfill the requirements for 100%ing the game as per the category. Now, as far as the gameplay is concerned, Nestani has 2 jumps and a spin in order to be able to platform around here as Hannah. And one of the things he can do is something called spin jumping, where he inputs a jump and then a spin a couple of frames later. This gives him a boosted jump that is a bit higher than using either one of those resources in isolation. So he's able to do a little bit of a shortcut there in order to get that first of 4 letters early. Now, on top of all the cranes that Nestani has to get, there are 4 hidden letters in each level, kind of like the KONG letters from like the Donkey Kong Country Returns games. Where if you get all 4 of them, they unlock a alternate exit at the end of the level, which gets us a specific collectible that we need to access the true ending of the game.
Yeah, you can see on the left how many letters he already collected and how many cranes he needs and already got. And after every official ending of the level, as Jax already said, there is a secret ending kinda, where he will collect a key in the first stage always and a document in the second stage. There's 7 worlds overall, and all of them except for the last one are split into 2 acts.
Yeah. And so even though it kind of looks like it's been a pretty straightforward level so far, this is like one of the most fun levels to run through in the 100% category. And it's because of how Nestani has to go about grabbing all of these cranes. So you're seeing Nestani attack a lot, seemingly in the middle of nowhere. And that's because Hannah's hitbox is actually larger and encompasses sort of the attack animation for grabbing the cranes while you're doing that. So Nestani actually attacks and positions himself in certain ways in order to be able to collect all these cranes in one go and cut all these tiny little corners right here. So that's like one of the fun things about optimizing this category is just like barely squeezing out tighter and tighter lines by making use of this property of the spin attack.
Yeah, there's several cranes I always miss just because I go 1 or 2 pixels too far off.
It really is a travesty, honestly.
Yeah. The cranes also notoriously are really small to pick up if you're not using your attack to extend your hitbox. It's very easy to just walk by a crane sometimes, and that's a pretty common occurrence even at high levels of play. You just scoot right by the crane and it just is still there, and you're like, why? Why are you still here? But this part has some kind of cool routing to it where you get some of the cranes on the first pass, grab the letter, and then come back for the second pass. It's really kind of interesting because in any percent glitchless run, this is a pretty straightforward level where you're just going from point A to point B. But because you have all the cranes and some really interesting positions in this level, there's a bunch of interesting stick movement that you have to do to get Hannah into the right position to grab all these without going too far out of your way. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you were to look at Nestani with an input display, there's a lot of little micro adjustments that he's doing over the course of this, especially when he does a vertical segment such as this, where we're really going to see the use of those spin jumps right there. It lets him bound over several of those, skipping some of the intended extra platforms there that you were kind of just intended to double jump over. And so that extra height that he gets allows him to skip over some of those right there. And then this next section, there's a theory skip for this in True Ending that is absolute garbage, but because we have to grab all the cranes here, Nestani does some really fluid movement right there where he caps that one off with a spin jump, so he gets all the way to the top without bonking his head on anything. That was actually really well played.
That was really good.
Yeah.
And as you basically saw from this, in World 1 and 90%, you're kind of falling asleep a little bit. In Hundo, it's the absolute opposite. It's probably the third and fourth hardest levels in the run, after Worlds 4, which is really interesting because normally the beginning levels in Lunistice are kind of cut and dry, right? You kind of just go point A, point B. That's a really good time, by the way.
Yeah. I'm gonna frame that one. That was good.
Yeah, that was 0.1 seconds slower than my gold. So that was pretty good. I don't know. But yeah, now we're in World 2, and what Lunistice does is it basically introduces, when you have a new world, you have new music and a new art style, not cycle. I mean, we're going to be making cycles, but later on.
Not yet.
But an art style, and we also introduce new mechanics. So these blue bubbles, they kind of go on this blue dotted line trajectory, and with that, we tend to want to travel the whole line of the blue line and jump out right before the end, because normally they make us move a bit faster. And then these we do spin bounces off of, similar to spin jumps, because those beach balls act as little bouncy platforms essentially. And absolutely ripped that terminology from Jax because it makes way more sense than saying spin jumping off of them, because we're not. It's
we're spin bouncing.
Spin bouncing.
Yeah.
Base.
And the input is roughly the same, where you're just pressing spin a couple of frames after you started getting the vertical momentum. It works kind of in a similar way, but the timing is slightly different. It's worth noting as well that you don't want to rush the spin input, because if you do, your speed will just get absolutely clipped, and then you'll cry.
Yeah, and you'll be like, this is very sad for me. That was really good.
Yeah, that was really good. So that segment right there is actually, even though this level was pretty straightforward, for the most part, that segment can be a little tricky because that water bubble is moving so fast that the camera can't catch up. So you kind of have to just commit to a direction and know where you're going to pop out once you get there. And so Nestani actually handled that really, really well. That's one of those parts that makes the difference between a rookie Hundo learner who's learning for the first time and a top level player like Nestani or Noxus, for example.
You will see something similar in 2-2 in the next level as well.
Yeah, and this will actually be an example where, yeah. good noises. So you're gonna see these like trees on the sides of the platforms there. We don't actually use them in this category, but it's an example of where we actually play on the current patch of this game because DK, the developer, added a couple of modifications to the stages in order to make them more fair for new players because they were too hard in previous builds. And so we don't really make use of them in this level, but there's going to be some examples of it in future stages where we can take faster lines because of some extra platforms that were put in.
Yeah, and now in World 2, we're going to do much more of the same. World 2 is probably the most chill out of all the Hundo levels, I would say, besides 5-2, but we'll get there when we get there. But, you know, there is still a lot of, like, little things that can clip you. Like, notoriously up through here, if you don't do these, like, little short hops where you, like, flick out and around these enemies, you will just get hit over and over and over and over and over again. And we only have 3 hits that we can take. And so if you get hit all the time, you'll just die before you even get up here. And you'll be like, bro, I'm just dead. Like, why is my life this bad? And it's just unfortunate. But right here, you're actually going to see me intentionally not hit that beach ball. That's because another property of these blue bubbles is that they basically keep your momentum with certain things like bouncy platforms or hyperspeed platforms, which we'll see a bit later on in the run. So we just avoid that so we can just take a tighter line because it'll shoot you straight up rather than just like going straight forward. And again, we're just going to use more of this attack just to grab those cranes. Just again, make it a bit tighter. And then we're going to go towards this little, ooh, this is a nice cycle. How great for me. I love that. I love when it lines up.
Yeah, so nice. And so that's like one of the things about this level, even though it's kind of straightforward, is those umbrellas. Because the cranes rotate with the rotation of the umbrella. The faster you get there, the more likely it is that the umbrellas will be in a good rotation like that, where you can just swoop right by and grab all the cranes. But like you can never really guarantee, just because of like things like
that's what happens when you input your spin jump too soon. By the way, you just absolutely don't get anything. You just start crying, and you're like, oh, this is so sad for me.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and all the movement off of these umbrellas is really tricky because they can slow you down if you move against the rotation that they're going towards. So Nestani jumps off of them in order to preserve a little bit of extra speed and avoid some of the slowdown there. So that was pretty well executed. And he, again, because like he's been going through this level so fast, all those cranes just kind of lined up perfectly for him, so he didn't have to do as much micro adjustment.
Let's go cycles.
Yeah, we always try to have at least contact with the umbrellas as possible. Because usually they send you the wrong way you don't want to go.
Yeah, that section is also really annoying right there because the Nestani is trying to cancel out of those bubbles in a certain way so that he doesn't get like a big full jump and just gets a short hop out of it, which is
so annoying.
It's very persnickety.
Like it doesn't really lose you that much time, but also it's just really annoying. I'm like, please get away from me.
It's more of a mental damage thing than like a damage to your run, And so here's another good example. Yeah, another good example right there of a spin bounce. Again, where Nestani's inputting a spin at a specific window after bouncing off the trampoline platform.
We just
boing a little bit of boost in height.
I just love the sound effects in this game. I'm definitely
and the music
notorious.
is just so good.
Yeah, but have you heard the music? Yeah.
The music, the sound effects. I'm a notorious just a sound effects abuser, except like with my mouth. So
yeah,
I just be saying anything, and they're like, "Bro,
yeah,
what are you doing?
What was he cooking?" But yeah, it's worth mentioning as well. If you're enjoying this game, this is only like $5 on Steam and like the Switch eShop. This game is criminally underrated, and I would argue underpriced as well. So do yourself a favor and pick up this game. Support the developer. They've got a new free DLC coming out, TBD as well, which is hashtag ad. But yeah,
satisfying noise.
Good noises. Yeah.
I love when cranes are just stacked up, because whenever cranes are stacked up, it's just the most beautiful thing in the game, honestly. Yeah. It's probably the most satisfying thing about Hundo is the crane group up and grabbing it all with like a single attack. But now we're in the amusement park, where we're going to round ourselves to this first level, but we're going to go for a very fun trick that you should not go for in Hundo, but I'm going to go for it because it's cool and swag. And so I'm either going to hit this and save 2 seconds, or I'm going to miss it and lose 30. So it's a pretty good value proposition for the amount of time that you're going to save.
And so essentially what Nestani's going to go for is something called a spin cancel. We're going to get introduced to like the railings that you'd see in like a 3D Sonic game for the first time. And they have booster ramps at the end. But if you input a spin a certain timing after you get launched off, you can actually redirect the momentum from the launcher in a different direction at an offset. So he's going to try to do a very specific timing here. Wait
2
for it, get
seconds
the
to school.
That's actually really
So
hard.
It
That's
is,
so hard. Now, it's worth noting that that trick actually saves a good portion of time in true ending because you just grab the letter and then you leave. But in that instance, it allows Nestani to essentially not have to double back on that path there, which, again, 2 seconds doesn't sound like a lot, but for a category like Hundo, where it's like all movement,
Or just
that
frame
actually
in
does
general,
kind of,
you know?
in general, it does matter. I think in true ending, it saves like
It
15
saves,
seconds or
yeah, it
something.
saves ridiculous time in true ending. But like that, like Hundo isn't really to the point where you need to do that trick quite yet at the turbo optimized level. But again, it's cool and swag, so I do it, and that's just that's how I roll.
Yeah. And
it's
then
hard, I'm doing it.
Nestani-
Take this letter in reverse.
Yeah. Sonny doing that part in reverse, going underneath to grab the letter and then just bouncing off. And then we get super speed here. And so we're going to see another property of these water bubbles where they preserve hyperspeed if you enter them with hyperspeed. So Nestani does a setup there where he jumps right before touching the ground, but making sure he doesn't make contact with it. So you can grab the crane while jumping. Yeah, go ahead.
And now that we said that, we have the only instance in the game where you have to touch the ground to preserve your hyperspeed for some reason.
Yeah,
It's really weird.
I don't know why this works like this, but you actually have to touch the ground here to preserve the momentum from the launcher, which normally whenever you land from a launcher like that, normally whenever you land from a launcher, you can jump to cancel your momentum. And so I think the way that works is because for some reason, if you land into the bubble, it doesn't keep your momentum from the launcher, but if you land and keep your momentum from the jump, like on the ground, it keeps your momentum? I don't know.
It's funky.
DK, please explain. Yeah, and then we're gonna go acquire a true ending yet again. We're gonna go up here, a couple of spin jumps. This can actually be a little trickier than they look. And then we're gonna end off 3-1 and play 3-2, which similarly to the 3-2 and any percent is pretty hard. Crazy.
Yeah. And not in the same way either, because you know, in 3-2, this level you can beat in under a minute by using some skips and spin jumps to get around. But this one's hard just because it's really hard to get all the cranes. That was really nice. So a pretty common theme that makes Hundo really difficult to optimize is when coming off of launchers, there will usually be a set of cranes kind of where you're intended to land. And so because of that, what Nestani tries to do is a strat where, he does a strat where he essentially does his spin cancel right at ground level, attempting to maintain the speed as low as ground as possible without touching it. So that way he can actually be within the hitboxes of the cranes while simultaneously not touching the ground and losing all that speed due to friction. That was a little close.
It looks a lot closer than it actually is, I promise.
Yeah.
The railings are pretty forgiving in this game. They'll just suck you up, and you're like, cool, thanks, man. I didn't deserve that, but, you know, I'll take it. I think that's like the only instance of a railing that we do that with in the whole game, I think. It's just that one.
That's the only one.
That we have to interact with in that way. Because normally we can interact with them in a safer way.
Yeah.
A more visually not panicking way.
Yeah. And worth noting as well for the posterity, like this level was done like 30 seconds ago in the 80% glitchless run.
Oh, yeah.
That gives you an idea of how broken this level is.
We haven't even
there's
collected the
another
first letter yet.
Yeah. That's an example. Oh, yeah. Big spin cancel right here. This is a really sick trick. Yeah, and he gets the strat right there where he avoids the balloon right there in the middle so that he can preserve his speed to the red one.
That was fun.
There you go.
Short panicking?
Yeah, a little bit. I almost died there, but it's fine. We recognize that I ran out of jumps. It's all good. Oh, I'm so sad.
Oh,
Think like that one.
That's my favorite one to hit.
But
Again, I was trying to cancel it right before the ground in order to preserve some of my momentum, which again, that is by far the hardest part of Hundo, is just getting right close to the ground, because you have to be close enough to the ground that whenever you input your jumps, you don't just like sail over the cranes, right? But byproduct of that, if you don't input it in time, you just land and you do the walk of shame into the cranes. You know, like I'm very upset right now.
Yeah.
one of the most punishing parts of jumping over the cranes when spin canceling is here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was almost
Good
really
save,
bad.
though.
Oh my. Yeah, usually you land into the booster, and if you don't have the crane, well, rip run.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is normally a run ender, but it's fine because you could kind of just react there
reaction.
if you don't hit it in time, if you've done it enough.
Yeah.
Because normally as
One of-
soon
one-
as you like input the jump, you're like, nope, that's too early, and then you immediately start
Yeah.
pulling back.
One of the other things too that you've probably noticed at this point is we generally avoid checkpoints. So any like big mistakes like that are like super big problems.
Also, we ignore these bumpers here.
Nice. Yeah, so Nestani went ahead and collected a couple cranes earlier, so you could do that big spin cancel to grab one of the water rails later.
This is
Just
the
kind of
checkpoints, by the way, in case you're curious.
Yeah, the little overhangs. Yeah.
The ones that we only run through if they're literally in our way.
Yeah, we will have levels where we only collect a single checkpoint later on.
Or,
So if we die
yeah.
Or
anywhere, there's something maybe collected, yeah.
Optimal 7.2 doesn't collect any.
Not in Honda. You basically.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And any percent, yeah. And technically in 7.2, but I do 7.2 differently than literally everyone else. So,
Yeah.
And faster than anyone else.
well, probably not. I'll give that to one of the IL runners, most likely. They probably got me beat there.
Yeah. Shoutouts to
Okay, yeah.
Flush and Nafalgar for obliterating this game on the IL side.
Yeah, they're really
Nice.
good at the game. That was a very okay 3-2. You know, I'll take it. I'm not
Yeah.
happy about it, but I'm not mad about it either. And now I'm going to
Yeah.
shut up forever. Goodbye.
Yep. And so
Welcome
now
to
we're
you.
headed. Yep. We are headed into by far the hardest part of the game, the run, any category. This is World 4, where we get introduced to rhythm platforming. So this is what Beans was talking about earlier with being real hungry. Because we've got all of these different snack platforms that are red and blue color coordinated, and every 2 beats of the song, it changes sort of which platforms are in and out of phase. And so what Nestani was trying to go for there was a cycle setup where he was trying to go fast enough. So he's probably going to be about a full cycle behind now, which, you know, not a huge deal, just like a second. But like every little like speed micro adjustment that we've been talking about over the course of the game really matters here because it can affect where spikes end up being, where platforms end up being. And so Nestani is kind of more closely aligned to, you know, what he would expect to be on Cycle 4 had he not made that little bit of a movement flaw. But tiny little movement things like that really impact the cycles here. So he's doing very specific movement to try to grab all these cranes without having to slow down here. So that he can make really good cycles, especially for when he gets to these segments with the letters in them, because they can be really brutal if off cycle. Like you've got this blue platform that you want to wait for, and then the red one right there, and then everything just kind of lines up.
Yeah, if you mess up a little, you can easily just go off your actual beat and just have to react to everything.
Yeah, and at that point, you're just asking for trouble.
And make it double. To protect the world.
Boo.
Boo, get him
You
off the
want to rule over the
mic.
world.
Yeah, it's worth noting as well is World 4 is where it really starts to become important to be playing on current patch. One of the big things that got changed in the balance adjustments is that the damaging part of the rolling pin hitboxes in these levels got nerfed, which means you can take much tighter lines and strats that normally would just result you in getting owned, like are actually remotely viable now and don't stink to do. So thank you, DK, for that one. That was like one of the most requested changes, so huge shout out. Pre-patch rolling pins were a nightmare.
Now you can do this.
Yeah, now you can stand on them while they don't move.
Yeah, so this is pretty much the cycle that Nestani would be on if he didn't have the movement club at the start, but pretty much just mirrored. So he actually like kind of adjusted his movement a little bit, so it'd be
No,
on a
that was
cycle.
the exact cycle. I'm one full cycle behind.
Yeah, you're okay.
Yeah, this is the
Yeah.
exact cycle that I would be on if I didn't mess
Big
up.
leap of faith there. Yep.
Yeah.
And then we'll be going into
Yeah,
4-2
one
here.
second. Which is, you know, it is a little painful, you know, missing the
Pride
cycle.
wise, but
Yeah, pride-wise. But if you miss a cycle, you're like, oh, 1 second. Oh, no.
right.
I'm shaking and
here
crying.
comes here comes 4-2 in Hundo, which is by far the hardest like series of movement in any category, even like the turbo optimized 90% glitchless category. Because we are going to be going for a fast cycle here that involves Nestani doing kind of these platforms out of order a little bit to grab the cranes on them so that he can get them off cycle, which will hopefully set up for some faster cycles coming up here. Nestani has no room for error if he wants to make the fastest cycle here. He has to do all this perfectly, make sure he gets all the cranes, and make sure he doesn't bonk at all here. It's incredibly difficult here, so...
Just to save half of a beat. But still, it's worth it. And,
even then, yeah, still a tiny bit slow. Like that is how ridiculously hard that strat is. And so now what Nestani can do is a strat off of that decoration in the background right there. As it's rising up, he can use it to boost himself up to the letter, skipping that whole platforming segment. And that's able to be done because there are just no cranes in that segment. So both Hundo and True Ending can actually do that skip. So I think that was you that found that, right, Noxus? Or
it's Mindspyro actually who found that.
oh, okay, gotcha. And so depending on how quickly you get through here, depending on how quickly...
I had no idea what was going to go. I was like in such a weird cycle there. I had no idea what was going to happen. Okay.
Nice save,
almost. Almost again.
And so right there, Nestani knows, like once he sort of reads those two red circle platforms, he kind of knows exactly what the game plan should be, because it's one of those things where like, you practice the perfect cycle in, practice. But when you actually get into runs, you have to learn to react to a lot of different types of situations. So a lot of runners like Nestani have learned to adapt to situations like that and understand what like the best practice is to get through that section. And so it's really helpful to be on good cycle here, so you don't have to like wait for these platforms to be in alignment. That's probably
if you're on perfect cycle, you actually have to wait, just like I did there.
Oh, really?
Yep. You can be too fast. Like if you're on actual red cycle, you have to wait there for like half a second.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize that because I never see you hit red cycle.
Nope, because I don't. I've hit it twice ever. Ever.
Yeah, it's
and one was
impossible. Oh damn!
Yeah,
let's go.
I hit it this morning, and I hit it like back when I was grinding Hundo. It has not happened since. That's how hard red cycle is. Like it is, and it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
because it's not only like because in any percent, like the red cycle in any percent is just at the beginning of the level, right? As soon as you clear that little like hill thing I was climbing up, you're like out of the weeds, and like you don't have to basically interact with like red cycle that much. It like really chills off in any percent. But in Hundo, red cycle is all the way up until the very end, like until like here is like where red cycle applies to. And so you literally have to play perfect for the whole level. So for about 3 minutes straight, you just have to be like the GOAT. And if you make one mistake, you're screwed. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for 7. So
it's 7?
Yes.
Oh Lord.
So like my PB that I just got this morning is a 3 flat. This is a 14. So that's like the range of what 4-2 can do to you. You can either have a 14 or you can have just a 3 flat, which is ridiculous. But speaking of ridiculous, this is not ridiculous. Well, I guess it's ridiculously pretty and ridiculously pog and cool and wicked.
Yeah.
World 5, my favorite world in any percent, not in Hundo. Which we'll find out why in the next level. But 5-1, however, cool level, fun level, music, just, come on. It's a banger. It's a banger. Ooh.
The entire soundtrack is an absolute banger.
It really is.
It just gets better and better. Oh, spin cancel here, let's see.
Nice.
But if you jump there and then attack in the middle of the cranes, you can preserve it a little longer.
It's like impossible though, so nobody goes. Well, I suck, so it's impossible to me.
Well, yeah,
I did it a few times, but it's pretty difficult still.
But yeah, and then so World 5, as you kind of saw, it reintroduces railings again. A lot of the worlds like to reintroduce mechanics. So these are the railings, except they have a little different property where we activate that little glowing yellow mushroom, and that makes the tree branch grow, and then we ride along the branch the whole way, just like it would be like a normal rail. which can lead to some interesting things, which we'll see at the end of, I guess, 5-2. I guess we don't see that. That was a terrible lead up. I forgot that doesn't happen in this category until the very last thing. Anyway, just keep it in your back mind. But we're going to deviate off here. We're going to go here. We're going to spin cancel so we don't have to hit this mushroom, and we can actually just jump straight up all the way up here. And then we're just going to go across these mushrooms. There's not much we can do to speed this up, which if you've noticed, a lot of what we're doing in these levels is
Nice.
we're kind of just going along the casual path, because the way that the cranes work in this game is that they are placed intentionally to lead the player to where they need to go in order to access true ending. So as you've noticed, we haven't had to round back for any cranes unless I missed them. But we haven't had to like round back and like reroute things to collect certain cranes. They're on a set path so that you can just go through the level without having to reroute, which can be really annoying if you have to do that. We're gonna be wee down here, you know, a little fun time. But since they're kind of put in this direct line of where the letters are gonna be, and there's no repeats, it's just kind of nice, because instead of like having to redo sections of the level like other games might make you do, this one you're like, okay, I just go down the set path and then I'm good. Oh,
Been bouncing.
oh, that's very sad.
There's actually no cranes there. We can go any percent for
For a split
3
second.
seconds or something.
That's true.
Great. Back to Hundo.
Oh my god! I thought. So you have to be really careful there, like, because if you accidentally go inside the standard exit, like, you just lose like 3 minutes.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you
I
ever
thought you were
To
gonna
do the entire level again, yeah.
yeah, if you ever touch the exit, you're actually boned, because you have to get true ending for Hunter requirement. And so if we touch the goal beforehand, which has happened, Noxus can tell you. But now we're to
Would never happen to me, and absolutely never happened to me twice.
never on pace either. But now we're
No,
to
absolutely.
my favorite level in Hundo, 5-2. I don't know why, but the music isn't working. That's kind of weird. Hopefully it'll
Yeah,
turn on at
must
some
be a
point. Yeah, I don't know. We gotta report that bug. Hopefully it'll be fixed by 1.1.
Maybe the developer's watching and fixed it.
yeah. But so 5-2 is the worst level in Hundo. I'll just keep it a buck. And that is because, yeah, you already see it, don't you? We just there are 516 cranes, as you can see in the top left, and they're kind of just in a straight line for most of the level.
Yep.
So we literally, I always joke on my stream that this is the Let's Play of, welcome to my Let's Play of Lunistice. So if you all want to understand how to 100% the level, you just actually do it casually. We do a couple little cool things like that where we cancel our momentum so we don't have to land. And, you know, we do a couple like little fun movement sequences like that. And most notoriously, actually, we actually do this level out of order. So if you notice, I collected the N. Normally, we actually collect the letters in order, like H-A-N-A, because it spells out Hannah's name. But in this level, we actually do them out of order, just because I don't know. We just do.
Yeah.
Why do we? I don't know. I didn't route this level. But we do. We just go to the left first. I don't know.
We've tried to make it in order, and for some reason it was slower, but I can't tell you anymore why.
Huh, interesting. But hey, now we have the drum beat. So a little bit of a meme. As you notice, there are 3 crystals, or 3 tiers. Well, I guess they're kind of, whatever. There's 3 tiers in the top right hand of your screen. We activate all 3 of them in order to get to the second half of the level. We will collect another letter in the second half of the level. Wow, that's so hard to say. Level and letter. Woo, that's a tongue twister. Try that one at home. But we activate all 3 of these tiers. We unlock tracks of the music, which will be in sync, unlike in any percent where they are out of sync, funnily enough, because whenever we reset the checkpoint in any percent, for some reason, it absolutely like obliterates the music, so it's like completely out of sync. But we won't have that problem in Hundo. We're going to have a nice, fun, amazing soundtrack as we activate the tiers. But once we activate all 3 of these, we essentially go to the second half of the level. I can't, dude. My mouth is broken. I've said letter and level too many times.
And to make the linearity of this level a bit worse, it's the longest level in the entire game by far.
And that was all the sauce in 5-2. That little wiggle, which is actually way harder than it looks.
Yeah, there's minor things like here where we try to not touch the ground, which can sometimes be a bit tricky. Here, for example.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's pretty much.
Yeah,
straightforward.
in true ending in that spot, you can actually, because you don't have to get the cranes, you can spin cancel there and carry your hyperspeed into the purple booster, which feels really cool.
Yeah.
It like saves like a couple seconds, but it officially makes true ending a better category. No, I'm just kidding.
Ooh, I don't know about that one. Hundo's pretty. Actually,
Hundo is
no,
pretty
never
cool.
mind. Hundo sucks. This is up one thing. Actually, this is terrible. Oh my goodness gracious.
Suddenly 0 out of 10.
Yeah. No, Hunter's lit. But this level is like the only level that I actually don't like in Hundo. Simply because my favorite part of Hundo is using like the attack to like collect cranes like this, which is very satisfying, but we don't get to do that too much in this just because of how linear the level is, which is a good thing because this level is incredibly confusing. I remember I could not understand this level when I like first played it. I was like, what is going on? Where do I go? I was like looking at Jax's like 80% run, like where am I supposed to go in this level, man?
Yeah.
I did not understand. So it's a good thing that the cranes are this, laid out, because otherwise, me, a dummy, would never be able to understand where to go. So bad for the.
Also, please don't jump off this rail again.
Oh yeah, no. I'm in Hundo mode.
All right, you're good. You're good.
Oh no, we
Let's
pressed the
do
Y button.
anything.
Yeah, sometimes I have a problem where I have any percent brain rot, and I just press Y immediately out of the boosters in this category, which is the absolute opposite of what you want to do in this category. Because like for all of them, like you want to land with the momentum, like right as you're about to touch the ground. Also, here's what I was talking about. We just grind on invisible railing. That's what I was talking about with the tree branch growing. Like a level ago, like a full like 6-7 minutes
A
ago.
little bit of continuity are going.
Yeah. It's fine. But hey, we made it there, and that's all that counts. And
So these
go ahead.
cranes to collect in between the mushroom jumps are just an absolute nightmare.
They really
So
are.
easy to miss one. And in some points of the stage, if you miss one in the air, you just have to go back to your last checkpoint, which might be 5 seconds back, maybe
or
30.
a minute.
Yeah, depending on where you miss it.
But luckily we have
and
all the
when it
cranes.
started-
Dude, my nightmare in this level is accidentally missing a crane and having to do it over again. Because as you notice, this level is 6 minutes long. I don't want to do that again. But I did gold by like 4 seconds, so that's an IL record.
Hey,
right
we take.
That was crazy.
Yeah, because nobody wants to run this side out.
there. Well,
Yeah, I also never made a
no, that was actually
sub-6
pretty
yet,
good. I don't
yeah.
think I made any mistakes there.
That's pretty good, yeah.
That was pretty solid.
Yeah, but
now
now we're heading
we've
into six.
ascended from the trees into the mountains, which if you've noticed, we started on the beach, and then we went to the amusement park, which is slightly higher up than the beach, and then just ignore the food world. We don't have to talk about that. But then we went to the trees, the treetops, very high up, and then now we're in the mountains. And as you notice, we're kind of ascending here, as Noxus would say. We're kind of going up. I don't know where we would be ascending to.
No idea what's higher than the mountains in the game Lunistice.
Yeah, no idea.
I don't know where we would go.
But now we're basically going to do a little fun climb here. A property of the spin jump that we haven't really touched on, because it only happens like right there, is that whenever you spin attack, it extends your hitbox not only horizontally, but also vertically too, which is nice. So you can just kind of like collect things like with your feet, which you're normally not really able to do.
Nice.
Cool.
That one's really hard.
That is,
especially because the camera is so low that it's a little bit tricky to tell when you're supposed to time the jump visually there. So that was sick. Also, shout outs to me trying to grab that letter casually without a drop shadow. That was an absolute nightmare. Thank you, DK, for putting in a drop shadow as an option.
The drop
Highly
shadow
recommend.
really is just iconic. Also, if you ever play this game, turn smooth turning off just for your own
Yes.
Yeah.
sanity, honestly. Smooth turning can be
Especially
helpful,
90%,
but I don't know. I think the game feels a lot better with smooth turning off, personally.
especially if you want to run the any percent category of this game.
Oh, yeah.
You definitely need to turn off smooth turning.
Wow, I
There
cannot
are
believe
like
I
some
just got
tricks that
robbed.
you physically cannot do with smooth turning on. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's always a funny thing in the Discord when someone is like learning it glitchless and they're like, I'm having a lot of trouble with those first skip and 3-2.
And then you're like, send a video. Like, it's smooth turning off. You see the video and you're like, oh, I see.
It's smooth turning off. And they're like, oh, what's smooth turning? And then they turn it off and like, oh, I get to skip now.
And it's always like instant too. It's like 5 minutes later they send the message. They're like, oh, it was on. Oh, nope, we're good. Oh, satisfying
Also
noise.
makes all the
Love that.
Pure serotonin right there, getting all those. This is another one of those fun levels similar to like World 1 where you just have all those tiny little micro adjustments that you can do to grab the crane super quickly. It's a lot of fun.
Which, especially if you know me as a speedrunner, I love little tiny like micro adjustments to do in every level. It's why I like a game called Scooby-Doo Night of Under Frights a ton, because that's the whole game. And that's why I like this hundo a lot in Lunistice, because it's very similar in the way where it's just like, how many micro adjustments can you make? Do all of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really good 6-1, and then we're coming into 6-2, which is a bit harder.
A tiny bit harder. I don't know. There might be a little trick that's a little difficult that we also do in 90% near the end. But we're just going to go through. That is my least favorite section in the whole run. It just feels so awkward to collect those 2 cranes to go on the booster. I don't know why I dislike it so much, but I do. It always makes me a little sad inside, you know?
Yeah, there's a few cranes here that are a bit placed off.
Yeah, and they can just feel a little
jump
awkward
a little early or
collect.
something. Yeah.
And you're like, why? Just like put them like, I don't know. The thing is, like, where would you put them? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like, would you just remove them? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and then the other thing that's tough with these levels is the railings, and also those 3 cranes right there. The railings in general, and like this like retheming of the railings tend to be a little deceptive. Like if you it might look like you're on the hitbox and then you just fall off.
I'm scared of this jump every single time you do it. Because I haven't done it yet. I can't do it.
It is not as scary as it looks, if you know how to fall correctly. Which I guess is an interesting thing. Falling correctly in this game is actually really awkward, because you actually have to get the max distance whenever you fall. It feels very awkward, because normally you're like, oh, space out my jumps as much as possible. But that actually doesn't make you fall horizontally further. And so you kind of have to do them like earlier than you would think, which makes it really awkward to fall, which Jax found out in his Tukey run when he was trying to learn 3-2 Tukey, because there's a trick there where you have to fall correctly, and he's like, I can't make it over here. And I didn't know how to fall correctly either, so I was like, man, I don't know, it looks good to me. And then we both found out at the same time. We're like, oh, that does not look good at all.
That was a little
early.
All right, so now we're coming up on one of the hardest tricks in the game, which is the 6-2 checkpoint skip. Saves 2 seconds if you hit it, but it's like impossible because you're doing a spin jump into jump with perfect timing, coyote frames, everything on a slanted platform. So we'll see if we get it.
Oh, I would have had it too.
No way.
I actually had that if I didn't absolutely beef my stick.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. You have to have perfect coyote frames, a perfect angle, a perfect jump, height, and it's just like, okay, you mess up one of those things and you miss it, and you're very sad. But you're not actually that sad, because it loses less time in Hundo. It probably loses like a second, maybe.
Yeah.
It's really it's more. I like how we're like, it's more punishing in any percent. It's 2 seconds versus 1 second. What are we really talking about here? I don't know.
Because at least you get the crane in Hundo, you know. So.
Oh yeah, true.
Or at least, or like you should, but you missed it. So.
We don't need to worry about that. And this is also, I guess, a thing. A lot of times in Hundo, like in 80% whenever you're running, we're like, don't hit anything, like ideally. But in Hundo, for example, it's a lot more like, because you do slow down whenever you hit things a little bit. Actually, I'm going to shut up for a second because I love messing this up.
All right, you're good.
Good.
Okay.
I overjumped that too a few times.
Yes. No, I literally did that this morning. That's why I was like, I'm just going to land and walk into it like a good boy. But normally we want to not hit things in any percent, but because we're wanting to collect all the cranes in the game, oftentimes it's just better just hit enemies. and just keep your straight line than like going up or around them.
Yeah. Those of you who bet their money on, well, space is even higher than mountains, you were correct. Welcome to space.
And also welcome to some flashy tricks that we're about to do.
And also these new rails here that preserve your speed as well, even if you have to land on them.
Nice. That's really hard. You have to be like super low to the ground there. Yeah, that one's hard. Then you got another one. 2 for 2. Nice.
Can we get 3 for 3?
Okay.
3 for 3, pause champ? Oh, how sad.
Almost.
Tragedy.
Back up, though.
We'll take a 2 out of 3. That's better than
Reset.
my PB, so I don't think I hit any of those in my PB. Under Fortnite. Here, we're going to avoid that staircase very intentionally because for some reason, that staircase, ow, rude. For some reason, that staircase literally like slows you to like half speed. It is actually abysmal, and I don't know why. Like, it's to the point where like, do the other staircases in the game maybe slow me down a little bit? I don't know, so I avoid all staircases now. But that one is like actually like if you ever walk on it, if you play this game like casually or like at all, and you walk on that staircase, you're gonna be like, oh, I see what he was talking about, because you literally like move at half speed for like half a second, and you're like, huh? Let me out, please.
Yeah. Something else that we haven't really mentioned, a small tech that Nestani is doing, and we see it a couple of times here with the disappearing platforms, is something called attack, jump, attack, which is where essentially Nestani is inputting an attack and then jump canceling it immediately, which allows them to like either jump out of the way or attack again midair, which is really useful in some of these like smaller platforming segments where Nestani doesn't have like a lot of room to move around. It also lets them input another attack immediately, which can be really nice to grab like a series of cranes in like really quick fashion. You won't see it too much here for this next bit because we got the planets through here, but
yeah,
you see like right there,
essentially
for
the reason why I do it is I land attack and then I get my triple jump back, and you saw it in World 1 especially, but okay. Yeah, those have walls, by the way, which is very unfortunate. But
yeah.
Also, those ring around the roses are just really tricky, which is under Fortnite. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, the reason that I do the attack jump attack is because you can input a spin jump after, which is very useful in certain instances where you can just use the attack to collect a crane on the ground and then immediately start moving towards the next one a bit earlier. That's kind of like the idea behind it, mainly.
You will also see that Nestani now actually takes the casual goal, because this is the first level where there's no letters anymore.
Yeah, there's no letters. The letters just like disappeared.
Yep.
Which is...
And in the next one, we also got rid of the cranes.
Yep.
Yeah, so this
which
will actually
means
just...
that we do the same here as an any percent.
Yeah, welcome to any percent, everyone. If you saw me do this at GDQ, I'm going to do the same thing. Hopefully better, though, because I missed it.
Yep. All good, though. So 7-2 is kind of like a reprise of every different level theme that we've seen. So we're starting in like the World 7 portion where we're going to see the lasers and the rails. He's actually going to take damage intentionally here. This is going to allow him to damage boost through the second set of lasers, which is a little bit faster. But more importantly, as we're going back like through all the levels we went through, there's going to be a World 4 section with the red and blue platforms making a return. And even though we can't see them yet, they are still on a global cycle in concert with the music that we have to be aware of. Big strat right here.
With the only checkpoint taking the entire level. Awesome.
Nice. So yeah, this
guy's anywhere now, he will land back here.
Yup.
So don't die, forehead.
Yep, exactly. And so now, because Nestani nailed that really sick trick right there, where he does like the really cool momentum conservation, he's on like the perfect pace now to make this cycle right here, which is going to allow him to skip a couple of platforms. He actually got here like a little fast, so he had to like do the ever so slight. Yeah, he had to do a little bit of a wiggle there. But the benefit of this cycle is that it lets you do a leap of faith to this red platform, and then once you do that, it puts these blue platforms into perfect alignment. If you do like the more beginner-friendly strat, those you basically have to win an extra half cycle for those blue platforms there. And so as we make our way through the World 3 section, Nestani's going to get hyperspeed and then get launched out of a purple launcher. And so what he's going to do is a spin cancel so that he goes straight into the water bubble past the next checkpoint. Again, skipping basically all the checkpoints because they're super slow in this level. This will actually allow him to preserve his hyperspeed like we saw in during one of the letters in 3-1, which saves a bunch of time just moving between the bubbles, as well as letting us skip the green umbrella. So no more green umbrellas for the rest of the run. And then we've got 2 more major strats that we're going to see before we get to the end of 7-2 here. He's going to do a late spin cancel out of this purple booster right here, which is going to let him catch this 3rd platform right here. It looks really terrifying, and it still kind of is, especially for me, because I haven't been doing it as long, but... And then right here, the last like really big time saver of the run we're going to see is something called elevator skip. He's going to touch the side of the elevator, which is going to trick it into raising up, even though the game thinks we should be... Oh no!
Oh no!
Anyway.
Oh, wait, where are you?
And so that just puts us at the top of the elevator without having to waste 20 seconds, and then we get the final page here, which only appears if we've satisfied the true ending requirements in all the other previous levels. So now we're on to 7-X.
Yeah, if you actually played the game yourself, and you maybe think, wait, what is this level? I've never seen it before. This is the extra level you only get if you collect all documents and keys in every single level.
Which is called true ending. It's basically all the letters, which you see me collecting here as well.
Yeah, you also get a special cutscene after you beat this level.
That we will not show.
That we will not show for spoilers, but also because we want to see what the IGT is after this.
Yeah, and also, even though we haven't seen any of this in the speedrun, this game has a story. This stage here is also explained.
I don't know what it is, but Noxus does.
I will not spoil it. You might have to try it yourself and
That's
do
true.
the true ending to find out.
You'll just have to play the game, guys. It's $5 from Steam. You just have to play the game. I don't know. Nothing we can do about that.
All I can say is that if you collect the documents at the end of every stage, you will be able to read the actual story and find out yourself. And also, you can gain this great golden outfit then.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah. If you complete this game with... if you collect all the cranes and you also don't die in each level, which you can do separately, by the way. You don't have to do it in the same run, unless you want to go for cool and swag points like me, in which case you'll try to do that. But you can just like complete a level without dying and complete the level without... and then complete a level with collecting all the cranes, and then you unlock this golden outfit that you see me running with. That I did not know existed until Noxus told me, literally when I was commentating Biyuchi's Hundo run like a couple months ago. Just to Biyuchi, by the way. Another GOAT Hundo runner.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
She actually returned to the category the day before yesterday or something.
Oh, did she? Let's go!
Let's go!
Yeah.
We need more Hundo runners.
We do.
We need more true ending runners, that's what I'll say.
Whoa.
The only reason I still...
Also, time is coming up soon.
Yeah, timer's gonna stop when we fade to black, so we're gonna beat up the moon here, and then timer's gonna stop in like 3, 2, 1, blah.
Time. GG's.
So I PB'd.
Oh, that was actually a PB?
This is a record.
I doubt it.
Show me that IGT right now. Show me that IGT
this is
right
record
now.
by 0.8 seconds.
You're kidding me.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
0.8 seconds or 0.9 because I saved 0.8.
You died in 4-2.
Hey,
Are you kidding me?
hey, you know, I told you,
Verify the run with the
46,
IGT. Oh my god.
Hell.
I'm actually a little mad. Oh my goodness. Well, congratulations. But also, okay.
I told you my run wasn't that good. Y'all didn't believe me. I know it's 0.8 seconds better.
Just to clarify how good Nestani is, guys. I told you in the beginning that I'm second place in this category, and I'm 2 minutes behind him.
Well, maybe. Yeah,
Almost.
that might be. Yeah, that might be a thing. But that's record. 0.8 seconds. 1 second. Let's go. Huge. But yeah, I guess we could like double check and just like make sure that it's Hundo by
you collected everything.
verifying all the S's. Yep.
Yep.
That is
real.
Hundo. That is world record for Hundo, as well as an IL record in 5.2. I think I saved like 5 seconds in 5.2.
Yeah, that might have actually made the difference.
I'm pretty sure it was the 5.2 buff.
Actually, yes.
And I think I also IL record World 2. It was one of them, I think. Not sure. Very good run, though. Anyway, you all want to do your shout-outs real quick?
Go, Jackler.
Oh, yeah, sure. I just want to shout out the whole Lunistice community. Just for being super... Yeah, all of them. Literally all of them.
Shouts to Foxy in chat. I see you.
Yeah, shout-outs to, like, Nafalgar, Plush, Tortolino, White Noise, just like so many cool runners. I'm gonna forget like so many people, but it's just like it's such an awesome and inclusive little community. We have a Discord server we have a channel in like the official Lunistice Discord. There should be a link to it on speedrun.com. But you could probably also find it through like the Steam community page somewhere.
And also just the thing about the Discord is that it's actually the whole game Discord. So if you're just a fan of the game and you just like Lunistice, there's a ton of stuff for you to do in the Discord outside of the speedrunning channel. We have our little speedrun channel, but there's a lot of things to do there if you're just a fan. Anyway, continue. Sorry. I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah. Shout outs to Nestani and Noxus for letting me join, even though I'm kind of an imposter and I only at most run true ending. I will also just say as well, because I know Nestani will forget, go follow Nestani at twitch.tv/Nestani.
I was going to get there, but you know.
Oh, I got to. Just in case, you know.
Just in case I forget I did on the GDQ stage. That's GDQ.
Oh, yeah. Oops.
Did not do that.
Yeah, Noxus, go ahead.
All right, I want to do some quick shout-outs to Akira Tora and Mine Sparrow, who were the first two people to actually run Hundo, so they got the stone rolling.
True.
And yeah, we already mentioned her just there, but Yuchi, obviously, who was my main competitor in Hundo until Nestani came along and just completely crushed us both.
You know, fine. Yuchi's really good. Me and Noxus actually commentated her
Indie-thon.
Yeah, Indie-thon. She ran Hundo in Indie-thon, which was also very good. Very good time.
Yeah. Go on, Nestani.
Okay. My shoutouts. This game is sick. It is $5 on Steam. There's a new patch coming out that's releasing at least 2 new characters, because DK might add in some more. It's changing a lot of the game up in general, and it's a free update. So if you buy the game and you play it, there's 3 characters currently. There's Hana, Tuki, Tori. They're all lit. We have speedruns for all of them. We have character specialists that specialize in Tuki, specialize in Tori, and then obviously Hana. But there's a lot of content in this game for $5, so I highly recommend it, even just for just playing it casually. It's just a really fun game. It's just a fun game. And also speedrunning's lit. And if you want to learn how to speedrun the game, I do have a tutorial on my YouTube channel for any %. But really, just like, if you just need help, just ask anyone in the community. We will all help you. And then, I stream on Twitch. I stream on Twitch 6 days a week. 7 sometimes, but guaranteed 6 days a week, normally around 7 p.m. Eastern. I play this game all the time. I'm going to be grinding down any % record because Gavin found some crazy stuff in any %, and I'm pretty sure a 24-minute time is possible, so that's what I'm going to be going for. A minute barrier, which has not happened in a very long time in any %.
Yeah.
So that's my shout out. If you want to see some more records hopefully being grabbed in other categories, that's what I'll be doing as well. And that is all I have to say. Oh, actually, it's not. I almost said Ed. This event is just sick. You all should pay attention to the other runs. We have a Sonic block? That's lit! We got a Sonic block, bro! And I just appreciate just GDQ and PT and the whole crew for just having this event be a thing. Unapologetic Blackfest and Juneteenth are great events to be a part of. I'm very happy to be in and a lot of them. I'm hoping to be in some more. And just shouts to all around. Shouts to Swarm, Sifrin, Bobby, just everyone. You're all the goats. And yeah, just thank you for having me.
Thanks for having us.
See ya, everybody.